Good afternoon and welcome to the Preccelerator program's demo day number 15. The Preccelerator is a program of Stubbs, Alderton, and Markleys, a full-service law firm located in Sherman Oaks, California. This is the 13th year in operation of the Preccelerator, and we are going to look at three of our most current companies in their presentations today. So hopefully if you have questions or interested about what they're doing, you'll be able to ask and find out more. My name is Len Lonzi. I'm the Managing Director of the Preccelerator program. I've had the privilege and honor to be in this position for just about 15 months now. I started in January of 2020. So it's been a very interesting year as you start a new job and then all of a sudden you're thrown a curveball called COVID. And I'm sure everybody here can relate to that because everybody in the world has been affected by this. No one has not been affected. So I think from our standpoint, we've weathered the storm very well. We've maintained our office here in Santa Monica open since July with COVID protocols. And it's been an exciting time, an anxious time, but we still get a lot of work done, and I think you'll see that evidenced by the companies that are presenting today. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce a couple of folks that are important to this program. I do not do this by myself. I have a couple of partners in crime out there. First and foremost, I'd like to introduce our senior counsel, Kelly Laffey, with the law firm with Stubbs Alderton. Kelly, wave and say hello.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Preccelerator Demo Day. I don't even know what number. We're so happy to have you. You're in for a treat with these company presentations today. And let's get going, Len.
All right, very good. Also, I'd like to introduce Armagan Syed, who has been a venture associate with the Preccelerator for the past couple of years. And Armagan, would you like to make that announcement you just told me? Because a lot of people here do know who you are. And if you'd like to do that, I'll give you that opportunity, not to put you on the spot.
Sure. Yeah, it's just it's been an opportunity for me to get a chance to evaluate a lot of our companies and put them in front of you all. So hopefully you get an opportunity to see some of the great work these companies have done to be ready for you today. Thanks.
All right, Armagan. Thank you. And he'll be leaving his position here and going on to new greener fields. So good luck to you. We've enjoyed working with you. And just a couple of other folks I'd like to introduce. Wharton has been very integral as a partner at the law firm with the Preccelerator here since the beginning. And without his leadership, this program would not be possible. So Louis, if you want to just say hello, I'd love to give you that opportunity.
Thanks, Len. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the program. I think you're in for an exciting discussion from our companies, and hopefully you're as intrigued as I am with respect to the various business problems that they're looking to solve. The Preccelerator is in excellent hands with Len as he takes over as executive director, and he's been integral in continuing the program as we've gone through the pandemic. So thank you, Len and Kelly and Armagan, for your efforts, and to everyone else, enjoy the program. Thank you very much.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Armagan. I think it's time to run the show here. So I'm very excited today to introduce two folks, and let me spotlight them. Okay, so Chacho Valadez, I think I was Valadez, oh my gosh, yep. From Backstage Capital is with us today, and Obi Anyanije. My gosh, I should be able to say these names after a couple of years, but Obi is the founder CEO of Unomi, which is one of our Preccelerator companies. He has been in the program. You were in a class, I think, what, 3 years ago, Obi?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Like class 10, I think.
And Obi's claim to fame is he's been the sole companion here at the Preccelerator through the pandemic. And it's a real pleasure to watch what he's been doing with his company and watch it grow. And what I'd like to do is start with this conversation between Obi and Chacho about, what does Backstage Capital look for coming out of an accelerator program, whether it's ours or anyone's, and what attracted Backstage to Unomi and Obi?
Sure. Hi everyone, Chacho Valdez here. I'm a principal at Backstage Capital and also chief of staff to the founder and managing director, Arlen Hamilton. We're a seed stage investment firm that invests in underrepresented founders, so women, people of color, and LGBTQ founders. And when it comes to what we look for in founders, it's early stage investing. There's not a whole lot of data to go off of when it comes to like evaluating companies. There is some, but not a lot. And so you're really trying to piece together the founder, their vision for the company, trying to understand the market timing. We're big believers in sort of this founder market fit. So founders who are solving a pain point that they've personally experienced either through everyday life or through work or what have you. And then I think if there's one thing that sort of goes across the board in all of the companies that we've invested in, and we've invested in 175 companies since 2015, is this notion of grit. And I think all founders inherently are very gritty. And I think the founders in our portfolio are very much so, especially as underrepresented founders. And then when it came to Obi and Unomi specifically, I think when I remember evaluating the deal for Backstage, is like just how he was able to take an incredibly difficult and complicated process and make it seem like really simple and provide a very simple solution to that process that saves animators a lot of time and as a byproduct, a lot of money as well. And he has an impressive background as well, exited a company at AOL. And so really like trying to piece together the story of the founder and their vision for the company, like I mentioned.
Thank you, Chacho. So Obi, tell us a little bit about Unomi and why Backstage was a good fit for you.
Cool. So yeah, Unomi is a software as a service for animators and video game developers. We automate the most complex tasks in the animation game development process. So right now we've done that with the automated lip syncing tool for 2D and 3D animation, as well as a motion capture and an avatar creation software as well. So all these tools combined save quite a bit of time and money for animators and allow them to create content from like monthly to potentially even daily or within minutes. Yeah, Backstage for me, God, I think with my last startup, it was rough because, as a kid, you're coming up in the industry and you're seeing, you have a lot of people coming at you and you have to pitch your company with multiple startups and multiple VCs. And the thing that stood out the most with Backstage was overall culture and mood. Like when I pitched to them, it felt natural. Where there were other investors that I pitched to, I instantly knew in first 5 seconds, even if they were going to give me money, I wouldn't want to even take it. So I think with Backstage off the bat, that feeling, that gut feeling was right.
Excellent, excellent. Backstage was your first funding, correct, for Unomi?
Yeah.
And how did that lay groundwork for future funding for you? What did that do for you?
It definitely helped, especially when we went to the equity crowdfund route, because you needed a lead investor to even be on that platform. So it's not like it's Kickstarter where anybody could just upload their startup. you really need that qualified lead investor with a significant amount of capital before you're even allowed to be reviewed to be on a platform. So that helps tremendously. I think getting other intros to other investors, that helps as well. When you get that first initial investor coming in, especially on the level of Backstage, it helps open up a lot more doors than if you're just flying blind and like with no backup support at all.
Chacho, I'll go.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was just going to add, I think too, it's in a way, it serves sort of as like a confidence check too. When you sort of have that like first money in, it gives you sort of this rejuvenation to like keep going and keep moving, not to put words in your mouth, but just from like even our experience at Backstage and Arlen's experience raising the fund, like it took her several years to get that first LP check. And once she got that, she was like off to the races.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to back that up, definitely was a morale booster for sure within the company. So once I brought on my co-founders, it helped tremendously to kind of get them on board as well.
Chacho, how do you look at companies that are in your portfolio that go out and do a crowdfunding raise? How does that affect how you view the company, and what are some of the ramifications of that you've seen?
We view it as a positive. I know a lot of, or maybe not a lot, but some VCs don't really like it. But we think more options for our companies when it comes to financing is better. And so it's like, if you think about it, it's not any different than like if one single angel came in and put that same amount of money. But now the way I think about it is they have these group of investors who they can then go to if they need help with something, or they're looking to fill a hire, and they could go to that like audience of people who are really dedicated to the success of the company and get their help. And that's just like one positive way to think about it. But we see it very much so supplementary to sort of the capital stack in the ecosystem. And it's been like, some of our companies were some of the first to hit sort of the initial like 1.07 million mark of funding. A woman, Dawn Dixon, with her company hit that, and then another founder in our company also hit that as well. So we view it as a really good part of the ecosystem and important.
Excellent.
And one other thing I'll add too is like, from the sort of like the retail investor perspective, not only are they getting an opportunity to sort of like get money back, but they're also getting that like education and sort of like look behind the curtain in terms of like building a company, getting updates from the founder and CEO. And I think in a world where if you could spend $100 on, going golfing for a weekend, like versus like that same $100 could get you like an education for several years into that company. And so that's just like another way I like to think about it as well. And another way that it benefits the retail investor.
Excellent. And I would say that the crowdfunding paradigm is something that Backstage has used itself in raising your recent fund. Is that something that you can give some insight to?
Yeah, so we recently raised on Republic, and we basically are giving our investors an opportunity to make money on our carry and our management fee for the future. And so it's a very sort of new and creative way for us to get operating capital to keep sort of existing at Backstage, if we're honest, as we continue to bulk up our assets under management. When you're running like sort of these small funds, you can't live off of the management fee off of these smaller funds essentially. And so in order for us to keep going and keep our important work in the ecosystem going, we thought of a way to provide upside for our audience. And for years now, we've been working to like create this community around Backstage. And one of the things that we say is that we invest in about 2% of the companies that we can see, maybe even less now. but we try to add as much value as possible to the other 98%. And I think our last raise is on Republic is indicative of the sort of the fruits of that labor, if you will. And so people are ecstatic to be along for the journey, and for the longest time they've been wanting to help and just be a part of Backstage however they could be. And so now they are in a monetary way.
And you did that during this calendar year of 2020, during COVID. So what has it been like during the COVID time as a VC firm, and looking at deal flow, looking at companies, making investments? What have been some of those challenges?
Yeah, I think at first it was just like figuring out like what's going on, you know, and our first priority was to take care of our portfolio. And so when COVID first started happening, we did our best to have like workshops with experts and accountants of like how PPP loans would affect your company, how you can get them. We like had a workshop, for example, with like Mark Cuban, who was doing a lot of work into trying to help companies get these loans to survive. And we also attended a lot of workshops ourselves as well to like understand what was going on from like just a broad ecosystem level when it came to venture capital and what other larger funds were thinking and how it was affecting them. It didn't affect us as much when it came to like our investment process, because we have always been a remote team and we haven't invested remotely. Obi, I don't even know if we've met in person yet. I don't think we have. So this is just like one example of like how you can make great investments without actually being there face to face with the person. And so we didn't skip a beat when it came to that. And I think I'd have to look, but we made somewhere near 25, 30 investments last year. So we were really busy. I think what's going on recently is like valuations have increased, especially in these past few months. But yeah, I think overall the ecosystem is bubbling and there's a lot of great companies being built and started right now.
Obi, how did COVID affect you and what your team has been doing and your fundraising and go to market? Because you've been very busy during 2020.
Yeah, it's definitely been my busiest year of my life, to be honest. It didn't affect us structurally. We were always remote as a team. We're pretty local, so everybody, we were always technically remote and just checking in through Zoom calls and phone calls anyways. I would say, if anything, it kind of created a huge demand for tools like ours. So that's the major change. So animation went from being kind of like maybe an afterthought or additional piece for streaming platforms like a Netflix or even Disney. Disney's always been doing it, but like probably even like Amazon. Now animation became the only production line that was in production during COVID. So which ramped up a huge need for tools like ours. And gaming, of course, blew up as well during the whole pandemic. So that really helped us in pushing our initiative, and it helped gain a bit more understanding of the value of our product as well. Because, you know, pre-COVID, there was a lot of distractions. Okay, there was a lot of we don't understand this market, we don't understand this audience. So I think once COVID hit, that there was a bit more transparency and understanding of what we do overall.
Thanks. Could you talk a little bit about, how did you find Backstage?
Wow.
And how long, how many investors did you have to go through before you ended up in front of Arlen?
Yeah, I mean, funny, I was actually at a bar in Venice and I met somebody who knew somebody at Backstage. So got her info, she connected me. At the same time, when of course I'm at Stubbs, in the Preccelerator program, Heidi, who's running at the time, also had connections. So I had two people batting for me at Backstage, so which caused them to say, okay, let's actually reach out to this guy. And so we started conversations back and forth. It took probably about maybe 3 months, and that's when they were doing their accelerator program. So yeah, so then that kicked in, and then that following year, I remember got into the accelerator program. The program I think started, in April, I think, from whatever, yeah.
April, May, somewhere around there.
Yeah, exactly, something along those lines, yeah. And so then that was it.
Great. And did you have to go in front of a bunch of other investors before you got to Backstage, or were you just very fortunate in being at the right bar at the right time?
No, there was a lot of no's for sure before Backstage. And I think especially in those early years, a lot of people just did not understand the service or the tool or the market, really. They really just didn't understand the market. And I was, lucky enough to run into Backstage and where they actually properly understood, and they did a proper, proper valuation of the technology too. I think that's what I liked, is a deeper dive in understanding the technology versus strictly the business side. I think personally, that's what I guess I could say bothered me, is when you're investing in tech and you don't want to hear more about the tech. I think that's one thing I really liked about Backstage.
And Chacha, let's talk about that. You're an early stage investor. What do you look at? Do you look at the tech? Do you look at the person? The age-old question in venture, is it the jockey or is it the horse? And how does Backstage take on that challenge?
Sure. And I think that answer varies based off of the sort of investor you're talking to. Like if you were talking to Don Valentine at Sequoia, when he was investing, he has since passed, he would say it's all about the market. And that people are kind of replaceable, essentially, especially founders and CEOs. But like the approach we take at Backstage is we're very much heavily focused on the founder. And so even in the earliest conversations, I am personally trying to get to know the founder, even just like on a personal basis. So like, I know Obi, for example, really likes surfing. And so we might talk for 10 or 15 minutes about surfing and how he got into surfing and what he likes about surfing and what it does for him. Because what I'm trying to accomplish is, like, if we're actually going to invest in this founder, I want them to feel comfortable enough to come to me when things are inevitably bad and when things go wrong. And you can't really do that unless you're building like a deeper relationship with the founder. And then not only that, like for me personally, I'm very invested in like founders' mental health and how they're taking care of themselves as they're building this company. And so a lot of my sort of initial questions are around that. And a lot of this, like the business and the tech stuff is in the deck and is like stuff we get into in like the second or third call or via email. And so, but sort of that initial conversation is understanding the founder motivations, like what's their vision for this company? What's their vision for themselves? Like what's sort of like their personal why that drives them to build this company? Because, we're talking to brilliant people who could be doing a lot of different things. So like, why did this founder pick this specific startup? And like, where do they see the company in 10 years? And I try to like not limit sort of my thinking and like how successful a company can be. And I think sort of the storytelling around the company is really important too. So I'm not sure, hopefully that answers your question a bit, but we certainly do look at like the tech and a lot of that typical investor stuff. But I think that's what really differentiates us at Backstage, is like, we're really focused on the founder.
Yeah, and I think we see that more with very early stage investors, because you have to bet on the founder, because inevitably there's going to be a pivot and the tech's not going to work, and you have to, you're making that bet that this company is going to get off the ground. And if you don't have the right person doing it, it's never going to move. Later on, it's, the product's out, it's growing. Maybe you don't have the right person in the chair to grow the company to the next level. So, people who are investing at that A, B, C round can make those changes. A question has come up. Can you give an example of when you've turned down a funder and then later invested in the company after they got more traction or pivoted?
So I can't think of a specific example here. I think that there have been times where we meet with founders and they're just not quite ready for whatever reason, because they haven't quite figured out sort of either their business model or their what they're actually trying to build. They're there's just a lot of ambiguity in when it comes to what they're building. But we really like them as individuals. So what we do is we stay in touch with them and track them over time. And sometimes too, we meet with a founder and we're in between raising funds. And so maybe the timing isn't right from our end, but we still want to keep in touch with them. And so what we usually do is keep in touch with founders that we want to track over time. And then as time goes on, we can see are they hitting those metrics that they say they want to hit? How much traction have they made in the past 6, 9, 12 months to then give us an indication of what they can build in the future.
Excellent, thank you. Obi, where are you today and what's next for Anomi?
So right now, of course, we have the equity crowdfund going on right now as we speak on micro ventures. So that's doing very well. We've raised up to about 95,000. And of course, that's a roll and close, which allows us to take some of the money out and start using it, which we already have, which is great. Allows us aggressively scale up as we're raising capital. So we've launched, of course, a new software that we're testing out right now for audiobooks. It's pretty much AI correction for the audiobook industry, which is great. We got great feedback. All the users are pretty much saying there's definitely a need. They're giving us great feedback on just very small features that they would like to see to improve the technology, and then go from there. So our top missions, definitely try to be cash flow positive, if not profitable, in 2021. That's our top mission so far. And then, of course, scaling it up from there.
Excellent. And Chacho, how about Backstage? What fund are you in now? What's next? What do you see happening in the future?
Yeah, so I think over time, you'll see Backstage have larger and larger assets under management. And you'll continue to see us play a big role in the ecosystem in terms of getting money and resources in the hands of underrepresented founders. But that's sort of the overall vision for Backstage, to continue to raise more funds and continue to deploy into great founders like Obi, and hopefully be one of those really large and just large institutional funds that stand the test of time, essentially.
It's awesome. Well, you're doing yeoman's work. I think it's important to have funds that are focused in underserved communities, and what you do is commendable. And I know you've been big supporters of what we do here at the Preccelerator, and we'll continue to have that relationship. We're getting towards the end of the time here. If there's any questions, now's the time to put them into chat. And if I don't see any, I'm going to give Chacho time to just give some closing statements, and Obi some closing statements, and then we'll get to the pitches. So anything that you'd like to part with us before you take off for the day?
Go ahead, Obi. I'll think of something.
Yeah, I was basically, overall sentiment is, be wary of where you take money from. It could be easy to start taking capital from various investors, but if that gut feeling isn't right, it's probably worth listening to, because it's great when you take it up first, but when things go south, that ugly head of that investor may really come out. And I've seen it in so many other startups, and it's not a good look.
Thanks, Obi. Appreciate you a lot. And Chacho?
Yeah, I would say taking care of yourself isn't selfish, and building a company is really hard. So make sure to make time to, have fun, do things that are outside of the company building process. Even if it's for like an hour or two, just really prioritize your mental health, because it'll not only help you and your business, but it'll just help all aspects of your life.
All right. Well, we're happy you were able to make time for us today. Please say hello to the rest of the team. I did not see any other questions come up. So with that, I'm going to unspotlight you, and we're going to go to the next part of our presentation. So ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you BEVS. And with that, Victor and Jason, take it away.
All right.
Yeah. Before I start, just can everyone hear me okay? Just with Zoom?
Yes.
Does my picture
Awesome.
look backwards, by the way?
No, it looks fine.
Okay.
Good to go. All right. Let's do this. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Jason Vigo, and I'm the COO at BEVS.
And my name is Victor Greer, and I am the CEO at BEVS. What we do here is we are a technology platform for convenience liquor stores that allows them to have an e-commerce platform, in-store services to keep them relevant, able to compete against these bigger chains that are out there. I myself have been a retailer for over 34 years, owned, operated several liquor stores, still in the business actually. Being in the business, I've seen a lot of issues. I understand that a lot of these retailers, most of them are just not tech savvy. They don't understand how to use technology. They don't understand how to use it to keep their current customers, and they don't understand how to use it to help their business grow. Most of them don't have some sort of e-commerce platform or website, delivery program system, connecting to drivers, relationships with suppliers, the bigger brands that you see here, able to get better discounts, a POS system that helps their business, inventory management. There's just so many different scenarios that retailers face on a day-to-day and have problems staying relevant in this industry. The current apps, the current delivery systems that are out there, the food delivery apps don't solve their problems at all. They just facilitate delivery orders for them, and they have no retailer knowledge, no product knowledge. And BEVS built a system and is building more systems to help retailers grow their business.
Yeah, so we are transforming convenience stores with advanced technology, personalized services, e-commerce, and data insights to really meet the needs of these, tech-savvy consumers of today. And what we're trying to do is help these retailers fight back against the big box chains. And soon enough, we will have the biggest conglomerate of convenience stores across the nation. So to start, we built a few key components for these retailers to meet their biggest needs. We partnered with a broker to build out an insurance program that was just as cheap as their current program, but covered not only in-store operations, but e-commerce and delivery. Next, we built connections with the biggest brands in the world. So we partner with the Anheuser-Busch's, these big brands that we'll talk about later, and give the opportunity to the retailers to offer discounts to their consumers funded by the brands. And lastly, we built out delivery facilitation to help these convenience stores deliver absolutely anything from their store to the day-to-day consumer. And these stores have upwards of 8,000 to 10,000 items in their stores. So it is really a unique scenario. In 2021, we're looking to integrate with the POS system. With that will come various features, including inventory management, credit card facilitation, data analytics, and more. And that will really help us offer better services and help these retailers grow their brands while connecting them to the big brands and suppliers in the industry. The market opportunity is huge. Convenience stores specifically is a $31 billion market and growing. There are 110,000 convenience stores across the nation, and that doesn't include 7-Elevens or the biggest gas stations. Next, alcohol e-commerce. It's a $5.6 billion market. It grew 115% in 2020. And it just shows that consumers are eager and now willing to engage with their favorite alcohol brands online. Here are a few ways how Bevs is different. First and foremost, we offer the simplest, most easy to use technology for these very non-tech savvy retailers. Next, we built scalable and fast onboarding. This is one of the biggest pain points when we talk to retailers for any technology, which is they're just not going to use anything if it's not quick and easy to use, because then they'll drop off. And that's a pain point we're solving with any technology we offer them. Next are these customized services. So offerings like our retailer insurance. This is a market that has not been met yet. The services available for them, they're more like these blanket services that grocery stores or other companies use, and it's not meeting the exact needs of retailers, and that's where Bevs comes in. Next is top-tier reseller support. So you can't just onboard them and disappear, because they're so uncomfortable with these new technologies that they need support throughout this time. And what Bevs has been doing over the last year is providing that support and maintaining these really strong relationships. And lastly, we connect the key stakeholders in the industry.
Yeah, Jason touched on this a little bit earlier. What Bevs does is we kind of connect the three-tier system together. As you know, the suppliers are the companies that own the brand, like a Jack Daniel's. They give it to a distributor like a Southern Wine and Spirits that has to sell it to the retailer, and ultimately the retailer is the one that has to sell it to the consumer. What Bevs does is we bridge that gap together, where we connect the supplier, the distributor, everyone together to kind of reach the end goal of getting the product to the consumer. We built a program that allows the retailer to get product at the cheapest price, to not worrying about getting these massive case purchases in order to able to compete in the industry. So we built these partnerships with the bigger brands, built the partnership with the retailers, and then our success is at the end goal is to get the product, the cheapest product to the consumer. So we have other programs in place that we're working with these suppliers to build a longer term partnership.
Here's our traction today. So we launched in January 2020. By the end of the month, we will have 200 active retailers across Southern California, because we are closing out San Diego. Actually, right now, our team's over there. And we have hundreds of retailers in the queue. And we've shown that we can really add retailers very fast as we grow the business. We've also seen increases across the board in transactions, paid partnerships, and revenue. And we really built a system where we can add retailers at a cheaper cost than what we make off of them, while helping them grow their business. Our go-to-market strategy is really built around the convenience store. The retailer, the convenience store, this is our customer, and everything funnels around them. So for in-store technology, we're integrating with the POS soon. We'll be upgrading that POS, collecting data and fees from within the system. And then we allow the stores to continue to drive their own traffic, which do see a ton of traffic. Next are these retailer services. We'll continue to identify the needs of our retailers as we scale. These needs do vary across retailers and across states. We're going to be building that into a subscription model, which we've already talked to our retailers about. And as we add value with these various services and provide monthly support, we'll be able to amplify that subscription. Next is delivery facilitation. So we integrate with their inventory so that they can offer absolutely anything from their store with those thousands of products I mentioned before. Then we provide in-store marketing, digital marketing, and user engagement so that we can keep these retailers engaged with their users and coming back. Here's an example of how we make money. So the retailer subscription we haven't launched yet, but are in the process, and found a comfortable number of $100 a month, which will grow as we add more services and tiers. Next are partnership programs. We have several live right now, and we will be able to amp up these programs and charge more money as we, one, scale outside of California, and two, get better data insights of what's happening within the store. Next is credit card management or facilitation, which is we are accumulating all of the credit card processing across our retailers to get a bigger discount that they can't get on their own. We'll be able to push back some of those discounts back to the retailer, while Bevs makes a commission off that too. And last is delivery facilitation, where right now we facilitate deliveries through our own Bevs platform, but in the future we will be looking to integrate with other delivery systems out there, taking a small percentage of that. We split our paid and strategic partnerships into really two components. One is smaller partnerships. These smaller brands, more than anything, need help getting their product in the store. They're newer products, no one's heard of them, and they don't have the scale to provide the same discounts. And so we help them with that, and then we offer marketing and promotion opportunities. Next are the big brands. So you probably recognize most of these. These brands don't need help getting placement in the stores because they're so popular, but there are two ways they do need help. One is they launch new products quite often and they do need help getting placed. Next is they have less popular products not shown on the screen where they need placement. And I think the most exciting thing here is we're in the room with these brands, and if you could hear the things that they're saying to us around, there's no company pulling together retailers in the same way as you are, and being so excited to work with us and building out multi-month and even annual partnerships with them has been really exciting. And that's just the beginning. We started with alcohol because it's low-hanging fruit, but we can transition into snacks, drinks, ice creams, medicines, juices, etc., that all our retailers have. So there are really endless opportunities out there to customize these partnerships for our retailers. Here's an example of a partnership we did with Anheuser-Busch. More than anything, they wanted to get Bud Light Seltzer placed into the stores. So we got into 92% of our stores, which was really exciting, and saw significant increases in sales of those products. And with that, the program went so well, we now have an annual partnership with them where we do a new product with them every single month in 2021. We split our competitive landscape into really four components. E-commerce are companies trying to use these liquor stores or these bigger alcohol retailers to just sell products online. Next is the in-store technology. These are really POS systems and do offer, of course, services for these retailers, but we see several of these being more like partners and competitors as we start to integrate. Next are these store services like insurance or financing programs. And as I mentioned earlier, none of these companies are building custom programs for the retailers, and that's where BEVS comes in to work with these companies to do that. And last is delivery, who of course offer delivery of the product from the store to the consumer, but these companies focus highly on the consumer, not the retailer. And the overarching point here is no one is offering a holistic solution for the independent local convenience store, and that's what BEVS is doing. Here's our 5-year financial projections post-seed round, which is we'll continue to add more and more retailers. And as we do, we'll funnel in these different services, the retailer services, delivery facilitation, partnership, and credit card management, showing that as we build these into our programs and add retailers across the nation, we can really be doing well over 100 million in revenue annually in the next 5 years. Here's our team. We have a really strong, dedicated team. Vic has spent his entire career in this industry, so we know it extremely well. And we have great team members across technology, operations, marketing, support, etc., and a really strong advisory team. And I'm happy to talk more about any of the individual members here after in the Q&A. Here's our expansion roadmap. Post-seed round, we're going to cover all of California and start scaling nationally. From a product standpoint, we're really going to be focusing on building specific features that will benefit the retailers as they grow. And specifically, we'll be looking at POS integration, which is our biggest build, and integrating those features I mentioned earlier, inventory management, credit card processing, payroll services, and over time building out even more unique custom services like rewards programs, referral programs, etc. So with that, we're raising a $1.2 million seed round. We're doing a safe agreement, 25% discount and 7 million valuation cap, that we're flexible on this for the right investor. With that, we'll hit several key milestones, hitting over 1,400 retailers, building all the tech features I just showed you earlier, hitting 5 million plus in revenue, and starting to get more than 7 US states across the US. And with that, we're really hitting an untapped yet really profitable market. And we hope that you'll join us on this journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. We're open for questions.
Vic, do you want to answer the question in the chat? It's no, we are not integrated with the POSs yet. We've narrowed it down to the two who are most interested, and they want to, Vic, if you can talk about how do these independent liquor stores use our platform. Now, I guess I can start, which is right now our entry to market was really based on an iPad, right? So a lot of them don't even have POS systems. It's like a cash box, so there's no way to possibly integrate. And so to get started, we gave them an iPad. So we lease these iPads, we put them in the store, we onboard them with their inventory, and that's how we get started with them. In terms of like insurance and services like that, it doesn't run through any device per se. It is, we do it on a case-by-case basis with the retailers. How did we arrive at the name Bevs?
Very interesting. It had to be around beverages, of course, because it's in the liquor industry. After doing several different searches and hired 25 of my family members to help me look for a name, we narrowed it down to Bevs, and that was the available name.
Short and sweet too, so we're happy with the conclusion.
Four-letter word. So.
Any more questions? None? You can talk out loud too if that's easier for anyone who wants to chime in. I assume, unless Len muted you.
Len, you're on mute.
I may have missed this, but what was your revenue in 2020? What's your 21 projection?
Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, so in 2020, we had 110,000 in revenue. In 2021, we're on track to triple that. The difference is, I don't want to get too hung up on revenue specifically, because with our partners, we were charging anywhere from a few thousand a month to 5,000 a month for our partners. And as we added San Diego, we doubled that. So we're charging 7,500 to even 10,000 a month from our partners. So what we're trying to do is that delicate balance, and we're focusing more on the technology integration now than amping up revenue, though we'd be happy to chat strategy about that, but that's our stance now. It'll depend on the seed round too, right? So we need to invest more in the technology and our sales team, and that'll amplify revenue quite a bit once we raise our round.
Yeah, one of our bigger revenues that we see down the line is data analytics from the in-store services. Once we do integrate with the POS system, the value behind that is extremely huge. We're having, for example, Anheuser-Busch reached out to us directly to ask us if we can get them that information, and they're willing to pay a lot of money for that in-store information. The typical store does about 10% of their business, 5 to 10% of their business is deliveries or e-commerce. 90% is in-store. So most companies want to know what they're doing in-store, and that's why we're doing this.
Okay, we have about 1 more minute, and there's a couple of questions in chat, Jason. I think I'm off mute now. I needed Fruity's mug to tell me that I was on mute, because I didn't realize that.
And you owe us 50 cents.
Yeah.
And I owe you guys 50 cents, exactly. What's your thought on simplifying your business model? It seems complex given all the offerings.
That is a great question, and we agree, and that is what we're doing right now, right? So the pandemic has been really interesting for us. So when we launched, the biggest needs were the ones I mentioned around insurance, around delivery facilitation. And as we've seen 2020 amp up, and the delivery companies really amp up what they're doing, we've been pivoting. And so where we see this simplification is, one, a subscription model, which we can offer various services ranging from insurance to financing to payroll services, accounting, et cetera, all these things that liquor stores do and hate doing. And then secondly, really building into the POS integration, which will incorporate credit card processing and these other features. So it'll really look more like a two-pronged business, but we're mid-pivot. It's exciting, yet a little scary, but I think if we talk to you in the near future or talk to you sooner, you'll see that it is starting to get simplified. And next was, did you start with a full platform ready or developed as you improved your business? So we had a interesting question. I would say somewhere in the middle. I wouldn't call it an MVP. We put a little more time and energy into it to make it seamless, mainly because retailers were so not used to technology. You can't give them a platform that's somewhat mediocre like an MVP. So we invested a little more upfront, but I wouldn't call it the full platform. And we've been adding these features and now pivoting to kind of do that POS integration, if that answers your question with my limited time left.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Victor and Jason. I appreciate you. If anybody would like to contact Victor or Jason, it's really easy. It's victor@bevs.com or jason@bevs.com, or you can reach them through the Preccelerator program. So with that, we are going to bring on our next presenter.
All right. Thank you very much, Len, and everyone at the Preccelerator. Thank you for the time this afternoon. My name is Bennett Heems. I'm a co-founder and head of sales of Blockforms. We take the work out of paperwork, and we are an application management system for employee benefit insurance brokers. Before I get started, I do just want to say thank you to the Preccelerator team, to Len, and all the guidance that you provided to us. We entered this program March of last year. I had one meeting in the office, and then COVID happened. So everything that this program has done for us has been virtual. It's been a fantastic program for myself and my two other co-founders who are not able to be here today. But with that, let's talk about Blockforms. So I have spent my career in the insurance business as an employee benefits broker, and an employee benefits broker works with clients to find the right insurance products for their needs. And oftentimes that could be a small business, 5 employees, 10 employees. It could be large businesses up to 100, 200, 300. So I'll sit down with a client and we'll find best in class products at the right price. And then they say, great, what do we need to do to move forward? And I then have to go to them and say, well, we're going to prepare all the forms and we'll send them over to you for completion. Congrats on the sale. What I've put up here are 4 major insurance carrier forms so that you can see the level of detail that they are going to ask. The form completion process has become a big pain point in insurance distribution. And what I've highlighted for you are how the 4 different carriers here are asking for the exact same piece of information. And I've highlighted what we would call the company name. You'll notice things like legal company name, full legal business name. So if I'm sending this form to my client, these each represent about 9 different pages of applications that have to go to a customer. And this process can take myself, my team, and my employer up to 1 to maybe 2 weeks to complete. So what we realize is that there has to be a better way for insurance to be distributed in the marketplace, because the statistics speak for themselves. 50% of small to medium businesses are going to shop for insurance every year, but the reality is that only 18% of them make the switch. And we ask our clients, why don't you want to move insurance carriers this year? And it comes down to time. It's a hassle, and paperwork's a pain. So consumers today expect a digital experience, and insurance carriers have not caught up to the game. So we are here to make that process much easier for insurance brokers. Blockforms is a one-to-many form completion tool, which combines all of the unique questions of insurance applications into one easy-to-understand client intake questionnaire. How our system works is a company will meet with their insurance broker and they will decide on which carriers that they want to offer to their clients. The broker will then be able to log in through a Salesforce integration, select the appropriate carrier forms to send to their client. The technology tool will then populate all of those questions into a single questionnaire, going back to the company for the user interface. And then it comes back to the insurance broker for digital signature. Excuse me. We've been able to launch our product and have been in pilot with a few brokers. The feedback has been fantastic in terms of how fast this process can be completed. So again, this process can be weeks depending on the attention of the client, the diligence of the team involved, and using our technology, we can have the broker and the client interfacing with the platform and being done in under 10 minutes. So again, it's about speed to market and a better experience for the broker and the employer utilizing the Blockforms technology. To give you an understanding of where the insurance tech landscape is and how Blockform fits into this, we have pivoted into the customer acquisition and policy issuance area of the InsurTech market. We are not an insurance carrier. We're not involved with the underwriting. We're simply a tool to help brokers acquire customers faster and get that data into the insurance carriers, speeding up the process for policy distribution. In looking at our competition, we want to talk about what are the things that they do well and what are the things that they don't do. Indio is a competitor of ours, but they work in a different part of the insurance industry. They specialize in the business insurance, which is going to be your workers' comp, your general liability. They do offer form aggregation and enterprise team management, but they do not touch anything in the employee benefits space. Xywave is another competitor that works on enterprise team management. And then you'll look at indirect competition like DocuSign. It's a great tool, but it doesn't simplify the forms process. Blockforms is the only carrier form aggregation that also offers electronic signature and enterprise team management, specifically for the employee benefits space. We know that InsurTech is hot. Within the last month, we saw Hippo announce that they were going through a SPAC for a $5 billion valuation. And that is a unique thing within this marketplace. InsurTech is hot because this is an industry that is ripe for innovation, and it needs innovation to help transform an industry that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. But what we have found is that we are trying to move data through the insurance pipes better. Right? The insurance carriers know how to price the business, but they need a better way to get the data into their systems. A little bit about Blockforms in our history. Founded in 2019, we were able to join the Preccelerator March of 2020, getting our pilot launch towards the end of 2020. We are still working on our first client acquisition, have a lot of really promising leads to close us up for June of this year. And then we hope to be nationwide by January of 2022. How we've approached the market is with our direct sales channel. This is going directly into insurance brokers. The insurance broker is our target customer. They would then be purchasing the Blockform platform, which I'll get to in a second. And as they add clients into our system, that is how we grow nationwide. It is a subscription-based model based on how many employers that they put into our pipeline. We also have an indirect sales pipeline, which is working with general agencies who would resell our product. With funds, we are looking to move our form library nationwide, along with helping our sales enablement team with sponsorships and acquiring customers. What's unique about the technology that we're actually building is right now we're starting with employee benefits insurance brokers because that's what we know. That's been my career background. But we have the ability to adapt the form technology to really a number of different industries. For example, looking at healthcare insurance claims, along with regulatory and compliance technology, knowing that those are massive markets that are also ripe for innovation. Within our current platform, we also have some downstream revenue opportunities, which are very interesting to take a look at. Specifically are with what we call carrier market churn. So insurance carriers want to know how many customers are they losing on an annual basis with specific brokers. With Blockforms, we'll be able to understand how many companies are migrating between different carriers, and that data is valuable. How we price our product is with a licensing fee. This is a $240 per brokerage user. So a brokerage could be Bennett Heem's Insurance Agency, and that could be me and my wife. That would be 2 users at $240. And then we would have a utilization fee for how many employers are being put onto the system. It is a monthly charge of $10. We are also working with a number of brokers to build a slight customization to our platform and offering a one-time annual lump sum pricing for them. We do also anticipate that the indirect sales model will produce about 26% of our sales channel, and we are offering our general agency partners a $6 price, and they can offer it at a slightly higher to build in some margin for our distribution partners. Financial projections, we started the Preccelerator in 2020. 2021, our expenses right around $60,000. With the contracts we have lined up, we're estimating for the end of the year to have $250,000 in the bank. And then for 2022, with the expansion of some of the funds coming in through our seed round, along with the expansion nationwide, we should be at about $3 million by the end of 2022. And that's assuming that we have one major firm with regional adoption across 5 states and 5 new agencies that we're partnering with. So here's our team. My name again is Bennett Heens. I'm head of sales and a co-founder. Spent my entire career in the insurance business. I've worked for some of the largest insurance carriers with AIG and Unum, and I've been an insurance broker for the last 5 years with a company called Marsh & McLennan Agency. Tanya Vucetic is our CEO and co-founder. She's a data scientist by trade, which is amazing. She's also worked for insurance carriers, so she has this beautiful understanding of the financial markets along with data and analytics. And then Ali Akhtar is our CTO and co-founder. He is a software developer that has built platforms for the World Bank, Cedars-Sinai, and he's just tremendous to work with because he really is focused in on the user experience of our technology platform. So we are seeking $1 million in a seed round that will give us another 18 to 24 months of runway. How we're going to use the fund is really going to be focusing in on our product development, our operating expenses, and sales enablement. So why now? It's interesting with COVID because this has really forced the remote worker to be efficient. And our technology truly helps insurance brokers be more efficient. You no longer need to print, sign, scan, and email any more paper applications. Truly eliminating paper, helping teams work faster, and creating a better experience for the broker and their clients. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Bennett. Good job. Do we have any questions for him? Oh, where's Tanya? First question, right off the bat.
Exactly. Tanya is currently on a plane right now. I'm terribly sorry for that, Edmund.
Any other questions for Bennett? Give it a couple minutes if people are typing. Bennett, can you talk a little bit about some of the brokers that you've been working with and you have some pilots going with?
Sure, we've got some pilots. Well, I can tell a couple of brokers that we have pilots going on with, a couple of them that we are not able to name, but one that we do is with Marsh & McLennan Agency in their Western region. And so we have 3 different small group teams that have been deploying our technology to ramp up. Most recently this week, we launched a Kaiser and Anthem application. Now we also have an insurance carrier that is looking to sponsor the full cost of block forms to enable the brokers that sell more of their product. That has been a very interesting way for us to also get our brand out to insurance brokers. And then the general agencies, the one that we have right now on our slide deck is called GIS Benefits. They're looking to completely acquire this technology to revamp their onboarding process. I did have a question come through. How are we going to spend the investment amount? We're consistently developing the technology. The second wave of our technology is to be for nationwide expansion. And that's going to be able to take a form, upload it into the tool, and then go nationwide.
Excellent. One of the questions that I've heard other people ask is your business model, and that when you talk about a $10 a month per employer charge, why are you doing it that way?
Yeah, it's been interesting. So I, again, am an insurance broker, and I know how the financing works for insurance brokers. We sell an insurance product and we receive a monthly commission. And so we can account for all the expenses for a certain account on a monthly basis. So that's why the monthly charge is in line with the revenue and expense model of an insurance broker. But as we've been talking with brokers, several of them had said, let's just make the capital investment here and we'll just pay upfront for a certain number. So we've been able to develop 2 models. One is the upfront cash now model, and the other is the ongoing recurring expense model that is in line with the revenue model of the broker.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions? I'm not seeing any. So
Great.
With that,
thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bennett. Next up is going to be Melissa Painter with Breakthrough. Let me find Melissa. Here she is. Well, I'm going to spotlight her and share your screen. And Melissa, you're up.
Hi, I'm very happy to be here. And I'm here, and thank you, Len, for everything, and to everyone on the Preccelerator team for helping kick off this journey that we're on with Breakthrough. So Breakthrough is a software platform of immersive well-being experiences designed for our work and school days. And it's powered by AI, spatial computing, and our bodies in motion. This is the problem set that I was working on pre-COVID with this team, and we were actually working on it on emergent technologies. So our initial go-to-market plan was with a mixed reality solution for this core question, and we had been working on it with some really interesting strategic partners who had funded into our research 2.5 million in non-diluted dollars. That timing and that cohort of people who supported our research really got us ready for a pivot, which happened with COVID. We were looking at this specific problem, which is that our body is the best piece of technology any of us own, but we culturally have gotten in the habit of not bringing that piece of technology to our work and school days. And instead, we turn our bodies off with sedentary behavior. And there's a lot of interesting science data on this, which I will, actually, I'm gonna let my demo video explain that piece to it. But this is what we were working on pre-COVID. When COVID happened, we were lucky to be in partnership with Microsoft, and they came to us and they made an ask, and they said, we know that you've got this research, we know that you have this initial product. Would you consider retooling that product and seeing if you can get to an MVP that will work as an app inside Microsoft Teams? And so that was what we were doing in the summer. And that product was really trying to address a stack of different challenges that were being met in large organizations. And so we were doing a lot of user research. We were talking to leaders in HR. We were hearing that they were really struggling with transitioning workers to remote work. And our conversations with those, that strata continue. And today it really is about what is the future of work, what's hybrid work, what is the return. It's interesting, in all of the companies we're talking to, and we're speaking to many, no one is going back to the way it used to be. We also were talking to team leaders, and leaders of teams who usually rise to that level and sort inside an organization based on a lot of soft skills in terms of being able to encourage collaboration, give mentorship, et cetera. We're really struggling in how to manage teams at a distance, how to keep some of those sort of softer collaboratory moments going on with teams, and also how to hire and bring in new team members. We were hearing from individuals that they were just having a hard time on a mental health and physical health well-being level. And so we designed this product, and I'm gonna actually just play you a demo, but to contextualize, we entered into a soft pilot with Microsoft in late October, and then we went live with this product inside Teams in mid-January.
Let's introduce micro breaks into our work and school days. Breakthrough is an app which guides you through a 2-minute micro break. It's tunable, so you get to pick which mood you're looking for. Micro breaks help you stay refreshed and productive through the day, boosting your mood in the process. A guide will appear at the beginning of each breakthrough. Simply stand, make some room, and follow the movements. There is no right or wrong way to play. Your movement will make the sound. Breakthrough is meant to be played, gifted, and shared. It is a well-being tool for you and your team. When Breakthrough welcomes you, it will give you the chance to set reminders, and then we'll chat you in the day to invite you to take a break. You can play whenever you want at the self-paced tab, and you can track your history as you build an energy-giving break-taking habit. Give Breakthrough. In a channel or a chat, you can pass it to a colleague, your whole team, or your students with a personalized note to check in with them in their day, a virtual wave across a hallway. Share Breakthrough. Breakthrough can be added as an app to a meeting once the meeting is set. When it's added, the app icon will appear for all, ready when you are. Breakthrough is a great opener to a meeting. It can help everyone arrive and be focused. It can wake people up in the middle of a long session. And on the way out, it reminds them you care about their well-being and sends them off ready to their next meeting. And no, you don't see each other stretching on camera. Why Breakthrough? We turn our bodies off by sitting still, by holding our breath. Our metabolism slows down 90% after 30 minutes of sitting. This isn't offset by 1 hour of exercise a day. And all it takes is 5 deep breaths, standing up, and a moment in motion to create energy. We feel busy, so we keep going. We forget to take a break. When we take healthy breaks, we actually get more done. Breakthrough is a team tool to invite movement back into the workday. As a team, use Breakthrough to create collective energy.
So that gives you a sense of how our product sits inside the platform that is Teams. And for those of you who are not familiar, Teams is Microsoft's offering, which is essentially as if Zoom and Slack got married. So in other words, inside organizations, it's frequently where all of remote collaboration is going on, but it's also the video conferencing platform. So when we launched with Microsoft and stepped into this partnership with them, there were 65 million daily active users in that moment on Microsoft Teams. By the time in January that we were opening this platform, they were at 115 million daily active users. And today it's 175 million daily active users. And for us, that's been really interesting and compelling because with no marketing, with no attempt to even like wave at the universe that this is available inside Teams, we, as of yesterday, have 3,095 organizations around the world using it. 50% of those are in the US and 50% are global. One of the things that's interesting that, to be honest, we were not thinking about was that we've built a tool that is not language specific. And so many of the companies that we're speaking with say it's the first well-being offering they've seen that they can actually offer collectively to their global population because it's not English specific. I was laughing about this because this is the slide that we put forward the last time that we were standing here with sort of a status of where we were at. We were talking about Microsoft as customer number 1, and we were hoping to be stepping into pilots with the customers that you see in part 2. We now are in active pilots with all of those customers, but we also have customers from every single one of these organizations already using our tool. And I could spend, and my team and I could spend the rest of our lives trying to land and expand inside each of these organizations. But to give you a sense, it's essentially every Fortune 500 we'd ever want to touch, but it's also all girls schools in the Philippines, the Red Cross, the Church of England, and the State College of Malaysia. So it really feels like being part of a global population in a wonderful way. Our business model is subscription-based. We really do see B2B and our enterprise customers as our core customer over time. One other point that I should clarify is that we are free forever to schools and to nonprofits, and actually that play it forward side of our intent is one of the things that makes us an appealing offering to these enterprise customers. We have very much a top-down, bottoms-up ground game in terms of how we go into organizations. And we're finding as we step into these pilot relationships that every organization has a different culture and wants to handle that slightly differently. We've had companies decide to send it forward to their entire employee base, essentially as a gift, as a soft launch. And we have other companies that are being much more sort of hierarchical in terms of how they present it to their employee base. Our competitive landscape, I mean, the truth is that our main points of differentiation are we are right in the platform in which you are already working. Our micro breaks are only 2 minutes long, so there's absolutely no excuse for not being able to fit them into your day. They're designed for group use and individual play, and they're movement-based. So we are essentially teaching people to use their body to reset their mind, which makes us quite distinct versus a Calm or Headspace. And we're not a fitness offering, and we are not well-being as a luxury offering. We're really attempting to reach a broad audience and to make a tool that's accessible to many. I'm very lucky to have an amazing advisory board. Scott Alderton, obviously you all, I'm sure, know, and Tom Clark is the head of innovation at Nike, and he used to be the head of Nike, and has been a great part of our brain trust as we do this. And then the rest of the advisory board really rounds out people who've been thinking about well-being and people who think about technology. We are not currently raising. Breakthrough is a Mucker Lab company, and we've been focusing at the moment on product development and also just expanding our customer base inside those orgs that you're seeing. We will be starting a raise soon-ish. We're probably a few months out from that. And thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Melissa. There are a couple of questions here. One is, how do you determine compliance with the coaching direction?
So we're not certified as a physical therapy app, and we're not, our customer inside these organizations, we're not monetizing medical. Our customer tends to be like the head of talent or the head of digital transformation. And when it's in HR, it's much more a soft well-being side of HR versus a physical therapy side of HR. In terms of who is designing the movement components with us, we're working with a stack of different movement experts who have all different backgrounds. One is an 80-year-old woman who is the person who designed how to teach Aikido to kindergartners nationally. Another is a yoga instructor who also has 5 black belts in different martial arts, who's a physical therapist. And then we're working with some dancers. So it's very important to us that the movements work, that they help get people into the mood states that we're promising, but also that they're not recognizable as coming from one movement tradition or another. I don't know if that answers your question, but.
I think it does. Just a comment here, breakthrough seems like a smart solution at a critical time opportunity. So good job with that. Are there any other questions for Melissa? All righty. Melissa, thank you so much for your presentation today. And thank you all for your questions. I'd like to just wrap up today and say that I appreciate everybody who's come. I appreciate the 3 companies that just presented. They've been a big part of my journey with the Preccelerator over the past year, and I couldn't have asked for 3 better founding teams to initiate me into the Preccelerator. So thank you to all of you. We will continue to work with you as needed, and we will continue to meet as we have. And we will look forward to bringing on another cohort next month. Are there any other questions or comments from anybody in the audience? I like beginning and ending on time, and if we end early, that's even a bonus. We're going right to 5 o'clock tonight, and the 5 o'clock hour is upon us. Again, without belaboring the point, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Armagon. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Louie. Thank you, Jason and Victor. Thank you, Bennett and Tanya. And thank you, Melissa. And Obi, thank you for what you've done at the beginning of our program. And Chacho had to leave, but thank him also. Until we all meet again, we will be having our next demo day in September. And I'll look forward to seeing you all then.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.